So, folks, I want to tell you about this cool show that I co-host now. It's called the Transatlantic Call-In Show. It's a show for people to call in and ask trans people the burning questions they've always wanted to know, or to ask for advice, or to ask, controversial questions, or to debate. There's a whole lot of different ranges of calls that we take on the show. This call in particular is from an episode that I co-hosted with Luxander. Its content is phenomenal. Go check them out. Wonderful, wonderful content creator. But also, we got some wonderful calls. And the Transatlantic Call-In Show is, of course, a show hosted by The Line. Go, if you haven't heard of them yet, there's a link down below where you can go click on it and check out all of their other shows. They have many, many other shows. And also, you can subscribe, and you can find a link down below to the original episode that aired. So you can go, watch all of the calls at once if you would like. You can leave a comment over there. You can like it. You could also comment here. You could do all the things. You can do anything you put your mind to, okay? Don't let anyone tell you that you can't. So you can like this show and that show, and you can hit the subscribe button here and there. Don't let anyone put you in a box, all right? I believe in you. Never forget, I believe in you. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this call. I really enjoy all of the calls that we get on this show. And I'm going to tell you to like and comment and subscribe again after the call's over. I just have this feeling. It's like I can predict the future or something. It's pretty cool. Anyway, go check out the things down below. There's a merch store too. I bet you didn't know that. Now you do. Go check that out. And a Patreon. Oh, the new information just keeps coming, doesn't it? It just keeps coming. So anyway, go check out this call and check out The Line and the Transatlantic Call-In Show, or TACUS. It's every Thursday. I think I mentioned all the things. It's every Thursday. You can call in every Thursday if you want. If you just keep coming up with new questions. So anyway, let's get to the call.
We're going to bring on Maureen, she, her pronouns, from Canada. Maureen, you're live on the line with Luxander and Jack. How's it going?
Howdy.
It's going good. How are you guys?
Doing
amazing.
Great.
Yeah, my question, I think you covered some of this when you were talking about that gender traits sort of overlap. And I was wondering if you thought a more androgynous society makes it easier on a transgender person, or is the need for the physical change still going to be more important? Would it be easier, or does it make it harder? I don't know. Does that make sense?
So, what do you mean by a more androgynous society? Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
I guess maybe I'm getting the wrong terminology, but I'm guessing like there are a lot of, women that have what would be considered men traits. I don't like wearing makeup anymore. I've always worn my hair short. Things that you think of men today are starting to wear more makeup and jewelry and things. Does that make it easier, I think, on a person who is transitioning to be accepted, or for them to feel more accepted, how they feel? Or are they always going to need, the physical change to really feel the way they are? I don't know.
I guess maybe. I would say I think that a society with like more freedom to present how you want to present would make it easier to be trans. Because I think in the past, a lot of trans people who came out as trans felt the need to be a binary trans person for their own safety. So like, even if you felt more non-binary, like, and I'm talking like, 30, 40 years ago, typically you might be able to find some comfort in just being like a David Bowie fan. But I think that a lot of folks who want to like transition had to pigeonhole themselves as one or the other, right? And I think that nowadays, with a more expanded understanding of gender, like it's easier for people to exist outside of that binary as like non-binary or various stripes. And I think maybe what my goal, right? I kind of imagine myself a gender abolitionist, right? Um, and what I mean by that is, I think it'd be great and ideal if we could get as a society to a point where the prescriptive notion of gender just kind of ceased to exist and people could exist, however they choose to. And even if we get to that point as a society, there are still going to be some people who feel the need to alter their bodies. And that's the thing about that is in that sort of society, there's just no stigma related to that. And I think maybe that's somewhat what you're talking about. Because I think no matter how like androgynous a society might be, there are going to be people who want to change different aspects of their body to align themselves with their identity. Um, it just might not be as oppressive to do so as it is right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. I understand it. I guess I'm always wondering why it's so hard for people to accept that people feel a different gender. Um, because I know so many people that present with both traits. And when I was younger, if you were a female and you acted too much a woman, and you acted too much like a man, you were assumed to be, you must be a lesbian, like that kind of thing. And back then,
Yeah.
that was a kind of scary thing. I mean, I'm 70, so I'm talking about back in the early 60s. So, as things change, but even in your own life, everybody there's people in your life that have traits that you would consider feminine or masculine. So it's always been hard for me to understand why people can't accept somebody. So I guess I'm thinking that the more physical you can make yourself look that sex, I guess the more easier it's going to be for you. So I just thought that maybe the more accepting people became of people, I don't know, inhabiting both genders makes it easier. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think you are, I think you are hitting close to it, like the truth of the matter, which is that like a lot of our really strong binary ideas come out of the fact that like in the 1800s and early 1900s and through to like the 1970s, there were laws on the books that literally meant that if you were a woman and you wore pants and like a suit coat and a bowler hat, you could be arrested and thrown in prison.
Mhm.
Um, because there were laws on the books that if you wore three items of clothing that did not comport or align with your gender assigned at birth or sex assigned at birth, they could throw you in prison, right? And they use these laws to like raid bars and raid park benches, etc. And so it became really ingrained in society that there were actual super strong consequences for breaking out of the gender binary in this way. I know my mom grew up and we grew up, Midwest. I'm from the Twin Cities area. And my mom wasn't allowed to wear pants to school as a kid because that was a boy thing. And when she got into high school, like her rebellion was wearing pants to school, and she was edgy and in that way. And like, but that stems from the laws that were on the books at the time, and like beyond that even. And so, um, I think that you are maybe not using the terminology I would use, but I think you're correct. I think that the closer we get to a society that accepts androgynous folks and people who kind of exist outside of these binary ideas of gender, the closer we're going to get to a society where people are free to change their gender identity to align with how they feel and change their bodies to align with their gender identity. And I think that's going to be a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, there's definitely two components, I will add. Like, I know somebody who got vocal surgery a couple years back because they were passing as a man in like every way. Their beard was coming in, they had the short hair, they had the big broad shoulders, but their voice was giving them away, and like no amount of vocal training was helping them accomplish the goal of like, and they lived in Texas, so it was like, oh, literally physical danger if I am clocked and somebody thinks that I'm trans. So they ended up getting vocal surgery to kind of help them cross that final threshold of social acceptance. And like it was a matter of physical safety for them versus like, I don't think there's any amount of like societal explanation for why I feel like I have sexual dysfunction because I only have one set of genitals and not the both of them. So like, I don't know if any amount of like being raised on a desert island or being raised in the Star Trek future where nobody gives a shit, like where does that come from if not some kind of intrinsic issue where like imagination has to take a large role in my sexy time, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's kind of both. Like there are going to be some things that get easier the more societal acceptance we get. And then there's like body dysphoria that is just, you can't help the repulsion or the despondence that is the misalignment that you're experiencing, which is why I tend toward a like, this is something fundamental that's happening in our developmental process or in our brains or something. Like, yeah, clearly people are compelled by something to make these changes. And some of those are intrinsic and some of them are external, right? Like I realized during the initial quarantine that I didn't actually want top surgery. I just thought that I would get misgendered less if I got top surgery. So it was like, once I'm not around people all the time, I no longer feel like that and any kind of pressure on that front. So yeah, it's a little bit of column A, a little column B.
Yeah, you gotta let people feel the way they feel. I trying to change somebody because you don't like it is never going to work. You just make both of you miserable. You're trying to change somebody and you won't accept something. It's never a good thing for either person. So, you know what? When you brought up the clothing thing, I always find that is just the most ridiculous thing. I mean, in today, with everybody wearing everything, I mean, it's just ridiculous that they still have standards. Like, I think in your own House of Representatives, you had a little thing a couple of years ago where women were baring their arms. Oh my God, how dare they? And, if they didn't want to wear skirts or something all the time. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Like, that makes you the person? Like, you're not a good representative because you don't dress right? The clothes make the man thing is ridiculous. And it's,
absolutely,
I don't know. There's just so much ridiculous stuff.
Yeah, it's tough. And society is stupid a little bit. But I hope that we addressed your question a little bit. I agree,
Yes,
like with the idea of like, let's move toward a society where we just don't pressure people on this front. I think I usually use gender anarchy instead of gender abolition because TERFs kind of poisons gender abolition.
I can see that.
I want to stand in opposition to that. And, anarchy is provocative. But we're all in alignment here. It would be best if we could just kind of lay off about it. But yeah, thank you so much, Maureen, for your call. We're going to move on to super chats, but I appreciate you. And I'm sure we'll talk to you again sometime.
Thanks for taking my call. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Maureen was such a delight.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, she's a repeat caller and she's usually got good vibes. So,
well, folks, there you have it. You watched the call, and you know what? I bet it was great. Or at the very least, I bet Luxander and I were great at handling that call. So I hope you enjoyed it. if you did, hit the like button and maybe leave a comment. Comments longer than 8 words helping the algorithm better for whatever reason. And also, while you're leaving a comment, you got to scroll down past the description, and you could check out a couple of links in there. There's a link for the line. There's a link to the specific episode that this call was from. There's a link to the line's Patreon. There's a link to the line's merch store. There's a whole lot of links down there. Go click on them. Foster your exploratory spirit and go forth and explore. Or whatever. I'm not your mom. But if I was your mom, she'd be telling you, go leave a comment down and hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. That's what moms do, of course, every night when they tuck their children into bed. Anyway, let's keep on going, folks.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube is where she streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, being plenty more. Her sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat.